Matamu Tu.
It's your boy Reumac, and I'm back with Matamu Extra. Now, for this final extra of the season, we are going to take a somewhat deep dive into something that I mentioned on the last episode of the podcast. If you remember well, I mentioned haggis as one form of mutura. It's in the family of mutura and it exists. So what's this haggis? As I said, it's the national dish of Scotland and it's comprised of the liver, heart, and lungs of a sheep or other animal that is mixed with beef or mutton fat and oatmeal, then seasoned with onion, cayenne pepper, and other spices. Now, these are stuffed into either a sheep's stomach or a beef bung cap from the end of a cow's large intestine. But nowadays, many haggis manufacturers use synthetic casing that are made of plastic or cellulose. Now, in 1978, haggis became Scotland's national dish after Robert Burns, a famous Scot poet, wrote a poem named Address to a Haggis. Ever since, Scots have celebrated the Burns Supper. It's a supper organized for celebrating the life of the poet, and mostly it's celebrated on January 25th, which is the day that he was born. That's Burns' birthday. Other places you find that it's celebrated a few days before the birthday, but it's mostly done on Burns' birthday. That is January 25th. So let's talk about this Burns Supper for a minute because I found it to be such a fascinating tradition. Now, Burns Supper is an institution of Scottish life. It's a night to celebrate the life and works of the national bard. I like that word, bard. Now, the suppers can range from an informal gathering of friends to a huge formal dinner full of pomp and circumstance. It begins with a piping in of the guests, but if you don't have bagpipes or a piper, some traditional music would do. What follows is the chairman's welcome, a short but important Selkirk grace that's traditionally recited in Scots, and then you have the piping in of the haggis. Now, guests normally stand to welcome the dinner's star attraction, which should be delivered on a silver platter by a procession comprising the chef, the piper, and the person who'll address the haggis. A whiskey bearer should also arrive to ensure that the toasts are well lubricated. Now, during the procession, guests clap in time to the music until the haggis reaches its destination at the table. The music stops and everyone is seated in anticipation of the address to a haggis. The honored reader now seizes their moment of glory by offering a fluent and entertaining rendition of Burns' poem to a haggis. The reader should have his knife poised at the ready, and on cue, there is a line in the poem where he says, "His knife see rustic labor dight." The reader then cuts the casing along its length, making sure to spill out some of the tasty gore within. And the recital ends with the reader raising the haggis in triumph during the final line, which I will not murder, and to which the guests greet with rapturous applause. Prompted by the speaker, the audience now joins in the toast to the haggis. They raise a glass and shout, "The haggis!" Then it's time to serve the main course with its traditional companions, which is neeps and tatties, which are turnips and potatoes that are boiled and mashed separately. It's often customary to douse the haggis with a splash of whiskey sauce, which, with true Scots understatement, is the neat whiskey. I watched a few videos of a Burns supper, and let me tell you guys, it is so interesting to watch. If you have some time, some random time, you can just go to YouTube and Google a Burns supper and just watch how much fanfare they have over a haggis. And despite the fact that the words haggis and hogs first appeared in England, it's widely accepted that haggis originated in Scotland. However, the English eat quite a bit of haggis. About 60% of haggis that is produced in a certain well-known factory in Scotland is actually exported, and about 30% of that actually lands in London. Now, yet again, there is a controversy regarding this origin in Scotland, as many people say that it originated during the ancient days of the Greeks and Romans. The most ancient version of haggis actually can be found in the Odyssey, Book 20, by Homer, which was written in 8th century BCE. Now, haggis can also be found in other European countries, but the recipe is different. Norway's version of haggis is vegetarian, and it's made from beans and lentils. I don't know what I feel about that fact. And that's that about haggis. Let me not belabor the topic any further. And this is the last extra for this season. So I want to take an opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been a part of Matamu Tu Season 2. First, I have to send a big shout out to the folks over at Verge for letting me invade their space to record the podcast on Fridays. And a honorable mention goes to Kennedy, who's been helping me set up and set down equipment for each and every one of the videos that we have up on our YouTube. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go to YouTube and search Matamu Tu. Like, subscribe, and share while you're still there, and enjoy our videos. You get to listen and see our guests, even as we talk about the different foods that we've been talking about for this season of the podcast. I also want to thank co-producer Sherry for taking the time to make sure that the podcast was running well and on time. And for the best comport that you will ever have, that is Sherry's Peppah. Please go to Instagram or Twitter and search Sherry's Peppah to get a taste for yourself. A massive thank you goes out to all our guests for taking the time to come and share their hilarious and heartwarming stories about the various foods that we've talked about this season. I cannot say thank you enough to each and every one of you. Finally, thank you, dear listener, for taking the time every Friday to listen, share, and comment on our episodes. You are the reason why we keep doing this. But now, do not fear. The Matamu Tu podcast is taking just a short break to prepare for season 3. But I won't leave you high and dry. Don't worry. There will be 2 bonus episodes coming out in the next 2 weeks. Now, these will be audio-only episodes, so make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast on your favorite podcast player so that you do not miss the moment that they're released. And let me tell you guys, these 2 bonuses are fantastic. I have 2 very interesting and engaging guests. I will maybe have another third bonus. Let's see how that goes. But don't worry. For now, the 2 are coming up. Please make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss them. Now, till next time we chat, it's your boy Reumac telling you to keep calm and love Matamu Tu.